If you think winning the World Cup 3 times was the most badass thing Pele did, I'm sorry but you're wrong. Scoring over 1,000 goals during his playing career is incredible, but bringing a raging civil war to a screeching halt is undoubtedly 10 times more badass. That's if he actually did it. Following his death, many reports have surfaced of how Pele and his team had marched down into a country where this kind of carnage was going on and not only play a friendly game, but also keep the guns silent for 48 hours. It is said that the proposed friendly was so hyped that the Nigerian army and the Biafran army came into agreement for a ceasefire for 2 days to allow the match happen. In 1969, just 1 year before winning his record-setting third World Cup, Pele and his club jetted down into Nigeria, a war-torn nation at the time, to play a friendly game in Lagos and Benin City. However, some Nigerian historians have as well surfaced to negate the news, saying that Pele was responsible for the peaceful 48 hours that happened in that period. Pele was simply born to play football. He was that son that was destined to fulfill his father's lost dream of becoming a footballer. His father, a former footballer named Dodinho, named him Edson, after Thomas Edison, the inventor of electricity. The name Pele is one of the most famous names in the world today, but it's not even his real name. It is a nickname that was given to him by his teammates. Ironically, the man himself did not like it. At first, he hated the nickname. The word Pele is said to mean miracle or wonder, something he absolutely personified on the pitch during his playing days. He started playing for the Brazilian national team at just 16 years of age. At that age, he was already a megastar and was playing for the biggest club in Brazil, Santos FC. Now, Santos FC had this thing where they would travel around the world playing friendly games. In fact, during one European tour in 1959, Santos FC played 15 games in 9 different countries in 22 days. This was a strategy by the club's management to squeeze out every last cent Pele's superstardom could fetch them. The 1969 tour had seen them play in the US, Italy and Germany already. This time, they decided that they were going to play in Africa, specifically Nigeria. The only problem was that Nigeria and Biafra were embroiled in a civil war that had claimed over 2 million civilian lives and had left 4 million people displaced at the time. However, none of this deterred them. Some Brazilian stories say that Pele personally requested that there be a ceasefire before the match was to take place. Now, that wouldn't be impossible considering that Pele was one of the most famous persons in the world at that time. Whether he requested it or not, the fact remains there were no army invasions throughout the duration of the match. Other accounts say that the ceasefire did not happen when Pele was in Nigeria, but much later in Benin City. What did his teammates have to say? Some of Pele's teammates say that the ceasefire barely lasted the duration of the friendly and that their plane barely made it away before fighter jets and guns went blazing once again. But what does the club have to say? Santos FC official website insists that the region's military governor decreed a local holiday and opened up a bridge that connected Benin with Biafra so that both sides of the divide could witness Santos' 2-1 victory over Nigeria in front of a crowd of 25,000 spectators. Pele's team played 2 matches. The first on January 26, 1969 against the Nigerian Football team. Pele scored twice as the match finished 2-2 between the two sides. Another match was played on February the 4th, this time between Santos and Benin's local team. This time around, Santos won, although Pele did not score. As memorable as Pele's first visit was, his second almost cost him his life. You see, celebrities these days are much more cautious. Famous people of the past century were much more daring. It didn't matter if a nation was at war or ruled by strict military rulers. Pele's second visit was greatly marked by a very violent military coup that was organized by Colonel Bukadimka. On February 13, 1976, General Murtala Mohammed was assassinated in very brutal fashion. Pele was in the country at the time on a tour sponsored by Pepsi. Throughout the month, tensions were understandably high in the country. In fact, 2 international tennis players who were in the country on tour were arrested by the Nigerian military. Pele, on hearing this, took to his heels to the Brazilian embassy in an attempt to escape the country. He got away, but it was by the skin of his teeth. His people at the Brazilian embassy had to disguise the famous celebrity as a pilot before he was able to fly out of Lagos to Brazil. Even in death, the man continues to be badass. Just a day after his death, speculations that Pele's family had given football's governing body FIFA the green light to place the legend's feet in the museum as a gesture of immortalization have surfaced.